Yeah, I think that'd be great. Now, the problem I think also is, was McNabb going to be willing to go there if you draft a guy that high?
And you know what? The situation kind of goes for the Washington Redskins as well. I mean, Rex Grossman, obviously. Hey, let me start for you. The Washington Redskins in that division, I don't know if the Washington Redskins are going to be competing for that division next year.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I think a lot of these...
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, you got to have a realistic view of where you are as a team, I think.
Well, Jacksonville's moved up to 10. Jacksonville was traded up.
Cameron Jordan.
Yeah, you think it's Cam Jordan?
Blaine Gabbert?
Blaine Gabbert. I mean, you need a quarterback. I think Blaine Gabbert should be the pick here. I think if you're Jacksonville and you want to try and take this division, you need a quarterback to compete with Peyton Manning, and now Tennessee got their quarterback of the future. I think you need to take Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them. I mean, that's another team. I think they've gone as far as they can go with David Garrard.
Yeah, I think he's a good journeyman, and if you don't want to start Gabbert immediately, I think you can work with Garrard for a little bit longer, but I think it would be a good pick.
And I wonder if the Washington Redskins are going to look at a Christian Ponder down there at 16.
16? That's not a bad deal. I think you can still get a pass rusher if they want. So...
yeah, there should still be a good pass rusher available there.
And I wonder what they gave up. Moving up 6 spots.
Probably...
I'm thinking...
a third change, maybe? I don't think that's second, do you?
No, I don't think they'd give their second for it. I mean, to move up 6 spots, I think a second would be a little much.
Break out the old trade value chart at draftcountdown.com.
Yeah, you could take a look at it.
For anybody looking and want to check it out, it's under the features tab, and it's under trade value chart.
And Blaine Gabbert's the pick. So Blaine Gabbert to Jacksonville. There you go.
And it's 300 points is the difference. So what is the Jaguars pick in round 3? Yeah, it's going to be more than a third, unless they take less in the chart.
Yeah. No, interesting pick. So that's 2 new quarterbacks in the AFC South, and you're pairing them with Matt Schaub and Peyton Manning. So not a bad QB division if Gabbert and Locker can work out.
And Jacksonville's pick in round 3. Oops, that's round 2. So they have 49 in round 2 and 80 in round 3. So let's check So 49 is 410 points, so that would be 110 too much.
A little high.
And 82, did I say? That's only 180. So they might have had to give up the 2 and then just got a little something back in return.
Yeah.
Now, Houston, this should be interesting. I think Robert Quinn or Prince Amukamara.
Yeah. Man, Nick Fairley falling out of the top 10. I still
not a complete shock, though, I don't think.
No, I don't think it's a complete shock, but I just wonder who's gonna take him. I mean, I'm guessing Minnesota might consider it, depending on who Houston takes. If Houston takes Quinn, then those pass rushers are sliding off the board pretty quickly.
And for what it's worth, I have heard for probably a month, don't rule out with the Texans' 5 technique.
Yeah.
That's where they see the value, whether it's Cameron Jordan or J.J. Watt. Now, I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think Antonio Smith is serviceable, and obviously Marion Williams. But just as kind of a dark horse there. But I would have to think this comes down to Quinn. But with Quinn, too, it comes down to medical. I don't think anybody doubts Robert Quinn's talent, that he's worthy of this pick.
Yeah, no. I think talent-wise, he's there. Jeez. Let me see if this is working over it. Yeah, I mean, as a pass rusher, now it's just about projecting him into that 3-4 defense that they're putting in Houston. Do you believe that you can make that conversion pretty rapidly?
And, I mean, it's one of those cases where, can he do it? Yes. Is it his ideal fit? I don't know.
You're right.
I like that move by Jacksonville, though. Be aggressive. You got to understand that if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. And Jacksonville determined they didn't have a quarterback, and they went and got one. And now even this is the case. I mean, Jacksonville, the problem is they're just good enough. So go with Gerard for one more year. Let Gabbert sit. Everyone's in such a rush to play quarterbacks right away just because they're first-round picks or where they're drafted. But you look at Carson Palmer; he didn't play. I don't think he played a snap as a rookie.
Nope, he did not. And
that took every snap that year.
And it worked out. Then it took him a year, but then for a while there, he was thought of to be one of those more elite players.
And I'm certainly not adverse to playing rookie quarterbacks. If a guy's ready, if you got Peyton Manning or Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford, throw him in there. But if you got a guy like Gabbert, who's only a 2-year starter in college, he's got some stuff to adjust to coming from a spread offense in college, let him sit. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if a guy's not ready. And I don't think Gabbert's ready.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as far off as a Kaepernick or a Cam Newton, but
I think starting Gerard would be the best choice initially, and then going from there.
And I'm sure they're going to start off doing that, but the whole key is sticking to it. That's
right.
Where it gets tough. That's where you got to have the intestinal fortitude when the fans are clamoring for him and Gerard throws for 3 interceptions and everyone wants to see Gabbert. You got to say, nope. We're taking the long-term view. We're not going to sacrifice the long term for some short gains, potential short-term gains.
Right, and I think that's the big issue is, are they going to be able to stick to it? And I think a lot of it's going to depend on Jack Del Rio and what's his job security. That's why I'm kind of intrigued by this move up to get a quarterback. So the Texans pick is in, and go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's already 2 trades in the top 10, so
yeah.
We're on pace to, what was the over-under, 4.5?
3.5.
3.5, so
it's happening.
I think it's safe to say that that's going to be the over.
And I think this Texans pick may tell us what they're going to do with Mario Williams, too. Are you going to use him as a 5-tech or stand him up? If you draft a 5 technique, then you probably have him and Okoye, and it looks like they're showing the pick on ESPN. I don't know if you're seeing it, Scott.
I've seen it.
Yeah, J.J. Watt going to be the pick for Houston. So, hey, I like J.J. Watt. I think it's a really, really nice fit in Wade Phillips' system as well.
It is, as long as Mario Williams is going to play outside linebacker, and I have my doubts about whether he can do that effectively.
Yeah, because you have Amobi Okoye there, who I imagine has to play the 5 technique, and he's developed pretty well in that 4-3. I don't think you want to bench him. So
and Antonio Smith.
Yeah, Antonio Smith. You got
he's a serviceable player.
Sure.
He's not great, but he's serviceable.
And Connor Barwin going to rush off the edge, so. I'm really interested to see how this defense shakes out for Houston. I think it could be one of the more interesting storylines for some of the hardcore football fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this move. It's not that I don't like J.J. Watt. I just think, it's a bit of a luxury pick to me, a luxury that they don't have. When you are desperate for a pass rusher, the Houston Texans' best pass rusher at outside linebacker right now is Connor Barwin, who has 3.5 career sacks and is coming off a major knee injury and didn't play at all last year.
Right.
And he's by far the best option they have at outside linebacker. And then you have the worst pass defense in the league, and you pass on Robert Quinn, and you pass on Prince Mukamara.
Yeah, that's tough. But we've been hearing for months that they wanted a 5 technique player, so maybe this is the direction that they wanted to go. I think it's going to be intriguing what they do later. Are they going to take that DB later? I think they have to. Are they going to take that outside linebacker? I think that value at outside linebacker in 3-4 might fall off real quick before their second pick.
I think so too, and I think the cornerback value could drop off as well.
Yeah, and you're not going to get a first-tier guy, but
I think in my mock I had 3 cornerbacks going in the second round, and they were Rossai Dowling, Brandon Harris, and Johnny Patrick.
Yeah, and D. Saint asking, can Minnesota trade down here, still get their quarterback, and build more picks for later? Depending on the quarterback they like, I think they could. If someone wants to move ahead of Detroit, I'm guessing Amukamara is high on Detroit's list right now, if he falls to 13. So I imagine if someone's targeting him or Cameron Jordan, 12 could be a spot.
Well, and as our buddy Chris Stuber has mentioned, the Eagles like Prince Amukamara, and they need a corner. Would Minnesota want to drop from 12 to 23? Probably. I think they'd probably take it if they want to give those picks because I think. But there's some pretty good talent here too, and some guys that Minnesota's been looking at. Not only Robert Quinn, but also Cameron Jordan, Daquan Bowers.
Yeah.
Amukamara, I wouldn't rule out.
No.
And, I mean, if Minnesota wanted a defensive tackle, I think Corey Legit would be a better fit than Nick Fairley.
Nick Fairley, yeah. I mean, Nick Fairley's still on the board. I think Legit is a better player. I have him ranked higher than Fairley myself, so I think that'd be a better fit for them. But
and he's more of a nose.
Right. Which is what you're going to lose first in that team with Pat Williams. So, yeah, Fairley's still sitting there. Man, you think there might be any truth to the rumor of the Lions taking Fairley?
It's possible. I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Although I think if Prince Amukamara's there, I would certainly take Amukamara over Fairley if I'm the Detroit Lions.
Oh, definitely. I think that's number one need. I honestly think that, I guess we should talk a bit more about Minnesota, but I honestly think the Lions, if they get a top-flight corner like Amukamara, I think that could be a team-changing type of pick. I mean, I think that might be the one thing they need. Good pass rush. Now you get a good secondary. They need depth everywhere, but I don't think that offense is that bad if everyone stays healthy. It could be very, very sick if they get a Amukamara.
And then I think the thing that would do for the Detroit secondary is you bump all the other corners down a notch, and all of a sudden, Chris Harris, not a good number one cornerback.
Solid.
Number two, all right. Alfonso Smith,
nice nickel.
Bump him down a nickel. He gets a nice player. Just bump everybody down a notch. Plug Amukamara into number one. That really boosts that secondary. But just going back to Minnesota's secondary, and I'm sure they're open to a trade down because they don't have a third-round pick. They gave that to New England to rent Randy Moss from. So I'm sure they're open. If somebody's going to offer them a third-round pick or even more perhaps to move down, I'm sure they'd be open to it. And that's the thing. They have options. I mean, they could move down very easily and still get a good defensive lineman as long as they stay within that top 20.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at who's available and who's picking later. St. Louis 14, Miami 15. Who would you want to move above them for? If it is one of these D tackles, Fairley or Legit, Amukamara obviously, maybe for Mike Pouncey, if New England want to move up, but I don't know if there's going to be anyone willing to bump up to 12 because the value's just not there right now.
Well, and there were rumors earlier today that New England was maybe interested in trading up for Cameron Jordan, who's still there.
He's still there. That's a good point as well. And Watt's off the board, so you lost 1 of the 5 technique at least.
Yep, or San Diego. San Diego has a lot of picks. They have 2 seconds and 2 thirds.
Yeah.
If they want a 5-10, and J.J. Watt's off the board, like you said, Cameron Jordan's the only game in town now in that range. And go get him.
And A.J. Smith, he likes moving around. I mean, he likes moving up. He moved up last year for Ryan Matthews. This is a player that they fall in love with. I think they could definitely move up for him.
Yep, and they could probably do it for maybe, worst case, 1 of the seconds, maybe even a third.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that would be a bad move for them. And obviously we're both big Cameron Jordan fans.
Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of his. And I'm interested to see when the offensive linemen start coming off. We had Tyron Smith come off the board. I think that's coming up. Could that be a dark horse pick for Minnesota? I know they did bring in a few guys, offensive tackles.
Well, and the talk was that Tyron Smith was the guy that they liked. Although
Yeah.
Mike Pouncey would be a big upgrade, too. Both John Sullivan at center and Anthony Herrera at right guard, both those guys you can do a whole lot better than.
Yeah, it could be a similar situation with Marquise last year where Steelers drafted him expecting guard and ended up playing him at center, so that could happen with Minnesota as well.
I'm smelling the trade here, though.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes left. Yeah, Fairley's getting all the green room talk here.